Hello, everyone. Welcome. So glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. This is 3 Keys to Be Calm during these uncertain and scary times. If you missed yesterday, I would say to watch the replay, but unfortunately, I deleted it last night. So, just regroup, resiliency. I'm going to rebroadcast it, re-videotape it today from 3 to 4 Mountain Time, which is 5 to 6 Eastern. So if you didn't catch it live yesterday, you can catch it live today. And be sure to post and comment, and we'll talk about that at 3 o'clock. Whew, crazy times. Yesterday we talked about how to take care of your health and the wellness of your aging loved one. Perhaps you have someone in your family who is aging ahead of you, be that a spouse, partner, sister, brother, parent. If they're here, close to us, that's great. If they're far away, you can still help, still be present. Today, we'll discuss ways to build our brain strength. How does this relate to staying calm during scary and uncertain times? If we can remember what we have to do in a cogent manner, if we can be calm while we're doing that, it helps our older loved one to do the same. So if we're calm, they can be calm. Yesterday we talked about creating connection, to be engaged, and to be courageous. That's what we need to do to get through this pandemic and life in general in a good way, connected to each other. So today we'll talk about memory. Tomorrow we'll add a little bit more memory information, and also just to come up with a plan, how to put it all together. So come back for that tomorrow. And when you're here today, stay engaged. Let me know that you're here. Tell me where you're from. And I'll be posting questions. Heather, my virtual assistant, will be posting those. So you'll see them in the comment thread. Thank you, Heather. Couldn't do it without you. I'll be posting questions, as well as you can post the answers to the questions. Post your own questions if you have them. Comments, and then comment on other people's as we go through, because we're getting to know each other, right? We're all here in the Array of Wellness Facebook group. Thank you so much for joining. And that's how we get to know each other. We talked yesterday about what who we're helping. If we're helping to caretake an elderly person in our lives, how that's affecting us. And same today. We'll be discussing how this pandemic is affecting each of us individually, and as your family goes through this, how are they reacting? I would like to mention that I have a workbook for the 3-day training. It's in the file section in the Facebook group. So if you look on the left, on the left of my computer screen, there will be the videos and lots of other things. I can't remember what they are, but files is one of them. So I'll be posting the recipes or the exercise ideas that we're going to be going through. I'll post those there as well. If you'd like to grab the workbook, we'll go through that today, and you can fill in and follow along, and at the end you'll have a how to build your memory workbook. When you are engaged, you will qualify for prizes, and we have 3. One is a Be Feisty and Calm checklist that I'll send to you if you win it. And then there's also a Be Feisty and Calm breakthrough session, valued at $97. It's free 30 minutes with me. We'll talk about how to get through this together in the strongest manner possible. How to stay connected to your goals. And if your goals are somewhere where you aren't, how we can bridge that gap. Love to create bridges in our lives. The third one is the grand prize, and that is $500 off my 9-month program, Uplevel Your Strength, so that you can be calm, strong, and feisty. And bring more meaning into your life as we're strong and calm and feisty. So, I have a quote for you today. It's from Yogi Berra. I think he was a baseball player. Baseball? Yeah. He said, "You observe a lot by watching." What a great thought. Right? Just by watching, we can observe so much about a person, a plant, the world, to just sit back and watch. I do that as much as I can, right? We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Talked yesterday about my mom. She always had these like cogent phrases, words of wisdom. To look and notice. That's what we're all about. And in Array Wellness Coaching, that's something that I love to do, is just watch what people are doing, how they're doing it, and and then we can have a conversation if this is working for you. I find it to be wild to be where I am, watching this aging process happening to me. My role models were my parents, lovely people, and we can do it differently. Right? They didn't know about the effects of smoking and, too much red meat. So we're just paying attention, right? Just observing a lot and making some differences. We know the importance of a healthy and balanced diet, of little or no alcohol, of not smoking, of exercising, of being calm. And I would say that one of my parents' favorite phrases was, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure." Right? To do things ahead of time, to be preventative, helps in the long run. And that's what I have done throughout my life. I've learned to say no to my sugar cravings so that those 1 to 5 pounds don't turn it into 10 pounds that I'm trying to lose at the end of the year or the decade. When I was 14, I went to visit my brother, who was 10 years older than me. He went off to work as some engineer, something. Left me at his house and said, "Here, read this book." And it was the Tao Te Ching. I found it to be a stepping stone into a contemplative life that I continue on today. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend getting a copy of it. There are words of wisdom in there about Buddhism that are so profound. And I talked a little bit yesterday about using writing prompts, and those would be wonderful to use. In my early 30s, I contracted mononucleosis, which I had when I was a little girl, I remember, and it wiped me out for sure. I had been running around. Kelsey and Stephen were little, like 2 and 4, coaching and helping a neighbor who was on the verge of dying, taking him 2 meals a day. Just overworked myself and came down with mono. Went to the doctor. They said, "Go home and sleep or lie down for 6 weeks." I thought, that's probably not going to happen. I thought there has to be another answer. And that's when I started to look into plants and medicine of plants, how powerful they are, and have been on that path ever since, using that as my guide. And I sort of use the garden as my library. So I go in there and find the answers. These experiences were the wellspring for Array Wellness Coaching. I have 3 ideas that I like to explore: nutrition, mindfulness, and movement. So it's something that I do for myself, for my family, and I love to share it with others. Since I'm in the aging process, I love to offer these offerings to women 50 and over to help them feel stronger in their bodies so that they can bend over and not throw their back out, so that they can keep up with their hiking schedules if they want to keep moving. Ways to eat well, just good nutrition, right? Just to ignore the emotional eating that can be so prominent right now, especially through the pandemic. And then to keep moving. It's so important, right? The mind, the body keeps the score. I just read that book, Vandercook's The Body Keeps the Score. And it does, right? If we use our body every day, it's going to say, oh, okay, we're just going to, maybe not as fast, maybe not as long, not as far or high as we were able to before. It does remember that moving is good. Moving, right, feels right. So I'm trying to encourage that in other people as well. I have a client who has some physical issues that restricts her movement. By the offerings that I gave to her, she was able to feel good at the end of the day, not depleted in her energy. And I send plant homework every month with recipes, things to try. She incorporated those into her life, found that there was more energy so that she could move easier and be relaxed about that. So I love to work with elders. As I said yesterday, we're not old, we are elders. And I talked about the difference that one medical professor discussed with his students, right? He asked them to describe old, and they said, white-haired, bent over, wrinkled, tired. And then elder, the words were wise, experienced, powerful, had money, and were leaders. I'm okay to be in that demographic, and I hope you are too. As I said yesterday, 1 in 3 people in the U.S. are over 65, and this is the first time in the history of the United States that there will be more elders than children. So let's keep moving and find out how to increase our energy and our memory. This is a story about my dad, who died years ago, and it's to help to send a message to remember, right, using our memory, remember to talk to our caregivers on a regular basis about what's going on with our loved one. So my dad suffered transient ischemia attacks, TIAs, that basically by the end of his life rendered him nonverbal. Luckily, he had my mom there, who would visit every day as his health advocate. One day, one of the nurse's aides came up to my mom and said, "Mrs. McGann, I just can't get your husband's plate out." Right, his teeth. She said, "My husband doesn't have a dental plate." It was, not life and death, obviously. At the same time, it reminded us that it's imperative to, on a regular basis, go over just our physical restrictions or not with our loved one, with the caregivers, just to keep that conversation going. And we're in a new place. As we age, we just move into these new places, maybe monthly, quarterly, at least every year. We can notice something that's different. We may be dealing with aging parents or siblings or other loved ones, our spouses. And everyone's well-being is affected by age. Our task is to create the most cohesive environment to nurture engaged, courageous individuals. As we age, especially to be courageous. It's so vital to meet these new challenges head on. And communication is the best way to do that. So as we go through today, we'll talk about memory, how to strengthen it, how to use some tricks, some tools, and to communicate those to our loved ones. Share them with friends. We're all going through this together. Everybody needs it. Your kids, they'll remember as they get older. We're going to build our brain strength today, and here's a question. Did I miss the first one? Oh, yeah. This is question number 1, are you and or your aging loved one struggling with how to stay feisty instead of forgetful during these stressful times? Let's see. So just let me know. Post below and tell me if you are struggling, you or your loved one, or both, with how to stay feisty instead of forgetful during these unsettled times. Some of the memory ideas today came from a course that I just took on building our brain and memory through the Harvard Medical School. It was lovely, lots of ideas, and just trying to incorporate as many of those into my life, and not only to incorporate them, but to remember that I knew them, right? Because we've had so many ways to learn things as we went through school, and these might just be a gentle reminder of what you used to use. So it's just a little nudge, I guess, to put these tools to use, because we can have them, but if we don't utilize them, then they aren't doing as much for us as we possibly can. We're going to prioritize brain strength today and talk about short and long-term memory. Question number 2. How many of you have noticed a difference in your memory compared to 5 years ago? Just tell me one thing in the comment thread, what you've noticed that's different about your memory. It's kind of like when I turned 40 and I couldn't see the phone book. My sister gave me her glasses, and you just sort of build that into my life. Now I'm just trying to use these tools that I'm learning as I move forward. So short-term memory, we'll start with that. It's those quick memory items that stay with us for 20 to 30 seconds. If we don't work with it, turn it into something that's more long-term, it'll be gone. Because the brain just moves it through so that it has space to remember other, maybe more important things. But if it is important, like a phone number, either you try to remember it, memorize it, write it down, call somebody, Otherwise, it'll be gone. There is one type of short-term memory called working memory. And that is something that is something that you need right away, like that phone number. So there's short-term memory, then there's working memory that's a subset of short-term memory. So how long does the brain store short-term memory? That's in the workbook, 20 to 30 seconds. Now, long-term memory these are meaningful items that are going to stay around much longer. Names of people that we love, places that we love, how to make things, do things. If we don't use them, they will begin to fade. So just, if it's important to you, take it out, look at it, roll it over in your head, and it'll stay there, because they can also become distorted, right? We think we remember everything just as it was, but without using it every day or writing down critical description of it, it can change in our minds as what we remember. So there's processing power in our brain, and that's where all this memory is taking place. There are 6 lobes of the brain, and I ask you in the workbook to name 2 of them. So you can have your frontal lobe, and that is thinking, speaking, memory, and movement. So the frontal, speaking, thinking, memory, and movement. The parietal lobe is language and touch. Parietal, language, and touch. Occipital is vision and color perception. So if you're colorblind, that's part of the occipital lobe. Then there's the temporal lobe, which is hearing, learning, and feeling. Temporal is hearing, learning, and feeling. Cerebellum is balance and coordination. So we'll be working on that a little bit today, working with our cerebellum. Then the brain stem is the basic, at the root of the brain. Breathing, heart rate, and our temperature are all regulated by the brain stem. So it asks for 2 of the lobes of the brain. So it could be frontal, parietal, occipital, temporal, cerebellum, or the brain stem. Can we change? Yes, that's one of the benefits of being a Homo sapien, is we can. And this is brain plasticity. So it's our ability to adapt to new challenges every day, new stimuli. And we used to think that the brain couldn't be regenerated. It can't completely, the memory, but part of it can, and that's called neurogenesis. So neurogenesis is when parts of the brain can be renewed to create new neurons. So this is good news, right? Good to keep those crossword puzzles handy. There are different types of memory. We'll talk just about a couple of them. The first one is the flashbulb memory. That's one of the memories that triggers a deep sense of remembering, of where you were, who you were with, when those things happen. I don't really remember when JFK was shot, but they say that was one of them, or when the 9/11 tragedy happened. Like, people know exactly where they were, right? Like, I was with my sister and won't ever forget it. So that's called a flashbulb memory. There's chunking, which we use to remember short pieces of information, like our phone number. And if we can break it into the area code, first 3 digits, and then the last 4 digits, it's easier for us to remember it. And I do that when I'm trying to just
writing about a VIN number on my car, and I just like broke it into smaller pieces so that, you know, you get it straight, so that you don't have to go back and check it again. There's semantic memory, which is factual information that we've learned, right? The name of the continents, my next door neighbor's name, how I make an omelet. This is just factual information, can retrieve it just like that. And implicit memory is things that don't require a real conscious effort to remember how to do it. How to ride a bike, what color my husband's eyes are, you know, just things that come right to mind. How to get dressed, how to drive a car, you know, ride a bike, same idea. So that's implicit memory. Now we have tools that are going to help us remember these chunking, implicit, semantic bits of information better. The first one is, and I want you to share this with, you know, friends and neighbors and loved ones, old or otherwise, and it's key belongings. This is, I mean, it's just basic. It's just where I put my keys. To consciously know that I'm going to drop these right next to the door so that I can just go and pick them up on the next time that I walk out of the house, it's easier, right? You just know where they are. When I take my rings off, I like to put them in the bathroom on a little shelf. And when they're not there, right, that like, oh my gosh, where are they, starts to happen in the brain. And you just like go over, like, where was I the last time? Did I drop it? Did it slip off? You know, and it just takes up a lot of brain space. So put things that you're using all the time in the same places. You know, your sunglasses, things that, you know, we go hiking and I just keep them all in the same place. Your remote control, just put it right next to the couch, just so you know where they are. It saves you time and brain energy so that you don't have to like go over it and try to remember where they are. And that's why you have to explain it to your aging loved one. We're just doing this to make life easier. So we don't have to hunt high and low for our wallet or purse or just where we put our keys. Meetings and appointments. I hope everybody has a calendar of some sort, right? We all have, a lot of us have cell phones. It's a little scary how much information is in here, but my calendar's there. And I just mark everything down so that in the morning or even the night before, I just scan through it and look to see what's up for tomorrow, what's up for today, and be ready for that. Do I need to get up for a 6 o'clock class? Do I, you know, just good to have that all laid out. Just takes it off the to-do list of what's going on tomorrow. It's a suggestion, highly suggested, to resist juggling because it's hard to focus, right? We used to be so proud of ourselves. I'm doing 3 things at once. As a young mom, it was pretty essential to be juggling. But as I get older, I realize I don't have to do that anymore. I can take a breath, do one thing at a time, finish it, and it just feels done. It feels different than when I'm trying to do multiple tasks at the same time. And it helps me to stay calmer, right? So we're trying to stay calm in these scary and uncertain times. If it lowers my heart rate, I'm all over it, right? It's just, we're going to be doing an activity soon that's going to lower your heart rate. I hope. It does me, anyhow. So try not to multitask. If you're on the call today, try to turn your phone off and just pay attention and just see how that feels. It's so relaxing. It's like a gift that you give yourself. You are saying to yourself, I'm important. What I'm doing can take all of my energy, can take all of my focus, and everything else can fall away, right? That's why we have our to-do list, right? In chunks of time, and then just do one thing and cross it off the to-do list. It feels so great. It's so satisfying. If you have, when you meet new people, write their contact information down, right? Phone, it's always good. Please don't let me lose it. And that's why it's good to know where your phone is. Right? Now that I'm staying home almost all the time, those moments of, where's my phone? Where's, my ring? Or, just, I'm pretty much centered in one place. And it's starting to have this calming effect on me that I'm enjoying, even though it's still scary and uncertain out there. And when you do put all of your contact information into one place, you know exactly where it is. You know how to get in touch with them. You can share it with people. It just keeps all of that in one place and simple. Our vital information. We talked a little bit about this yesterday with if a loved one is going into an assisted living facility or into the hospital. But this is about us. This is our vital information, things that we need to convey to other people, like to EMTs, when we have, or if we're going to the doctor, just to have it all in one place. Doctor's name, phone number, medications that you're taking, your health insurance information, and also other information that's not health related would be your credit card companies, right? Which ones are you using? And if I can say one piece of advice that I learned after my sister died is put your passwords into a safe location where other people can find them. My sister had just bought a new phone. She was coming up to Montana for my son's wedding and to Vermont for the bridal shower. And she didn't have the right, I think she was using a different phone, and it was hard to get cell reception. So she bought this brand new phone. It was 6 months old when she died, and we couldn't use it because we forgot to ask her what her password was. We had lots of different passwords. So, things change. Try to keep it updated. That's the hard part, especially with medications. For your medical information, it's a job, but maybe you can put it in your to-do list to keep that up to date, because it's so reassuring for your loved ones to know all of your critical information. So passwords for your computer as well as your emails. Now we're talking about locations and destinations. When you are going for a trip, we go for road trips. We don't get out much, but we don't get out of the car much, but we do go for road trips. And even though it's all on our Wi-Fi, it's all, on our GPS, it's good to look at a map. It's good to know where you are and where you're going, like what you're going to pass as you go along, the road numbers, just to notice, like, I'm leaving here, I'm going there, getting on this road. I will admit that I am directionally challenged, and this has been something that I've worked with all my life. I just never really looked at maps growing up. When we were on our honeymoon, we were distant places, and Wells would say, which direction do I turn? And I had no idea. So it's good to know where you are and where you're going and how to get there. On many levels, right? Just your health levels, your actual destination. Try to be aware of that. And if you're going somewhere with your aging loved one, sit them down and show them. Right? They will appreciate it. Just take the time, let them know, and it just helps them center themselves and to be calm. So that's great. Question number 3. Which of these 3 are you having the most issues with during the pandemic? So let me know, let the community know what it is. Is it maintaining your exercise routine, yours or your loved one? Good sleep habits? Or good nutrition? So, exercise, sleep, or nutrition. Which one has you a little stressed or befuddled, not sure how to get from here to there? There's, we did a whole thing about sleep last month, and that's my bailiwick, is how to get good sleep. One of the researchers that I listened to said, don't worry about it, because when you worry about it, that's when it just starts to go down that slippery slope. So you can check those videos out. I think they're in the Facebook group. That was from July, How to Overcome Insomnia. So check those out if you're struggling with sleep, but let us know. Let us know, and we're here to support you. We're going to go on to an activity in a minute. I just wanted to talk about this memory that I had, since we're talking about memory, of going on a hike. I am in a family that has been hiking forever. When we get to a place, we put our backpacks on and we're pretty much headed, right? We don't stop too often, maybe have a quick bite at the middle and then come on back. You know, I'm always trying to take pictures of the wildflowers or stop and look at the trees, and they kind of leave me in the dust. This hike was a friend of mine who invited me to hike in a part of Vermont that I had never been in before, and I was so excited. It was in the Green Mountains. It was Mount Anthony. Not too crazy a hike. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 miles. We left early morning, had to drive there an hour or more, and we started out on this hike. And it was like night and day with how I'm used to it. At first, it was frustrating, and then I realized, oh my goodness, there's another way to go hiking. I was able to take pictures of the flowers, to notice rock formations, and also I was able to be really sure of where I'm stepping, right? You're always a little worried. Sometimes they take hiking sticks. But this time we were going so slowly that I knew exactly where each foot was going. So we'll be talking about foot placement in our activity. It allowed me to notice my environment, which was huge. When we got to the top, we stopped and had lunch for an hour. It was so extravagant, such a treat. We were talking to the other hikers, and it was just a great day. I was so grateful to go on that hike. I'd never been on a hike like that, and I haven't been on one since. But it's okay to do things a little differently. Just, if you're going to stay active, make it work for you. Do things that bring you joy wherever you are, right? And if you're going with an aging loved one, you might have to walk slower than you want to. Instead of getting frustrated, the eye rolls, allow it to be a space for you to do some deep breathing. I have friends or people that I know that get frustrated at red lights. My sister used to say, that's when I breathe. Just take those moments, wherever they are in your life, wherever they happen to pop up, turn it into something that is beneficial to you. Right? What's the use of the benefit of getting upset about it when instead you could just be taking one conscious breath? right? Don't close your eyes, but use those moments as an opportunity to explore your own well-being. So when your loved one is taking their time walking down the hallway, stay present. They know the difference. They can tell. Right? Just try that. All right, so we're going to do our activity today. Everybody's going to get up in a second. We're going to be doing some mindful walking. This is what I learned years ago when I took the mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, that was designed and written by John Kabat-Zinn, who is sort of the grandfather of mindfulness in the United States. It was such a profound training. We would do this, I think we had 8 meetings. We did mindful walking, not in every single one. When we did it, we would do it for 20 minutes. Such a moving meditation. Crazy. You'll see. My teacher, Melissa Laverack, taught us how to be mindful in our lives, in movement and in stillness. When we were learning how to do mindful walking, she said that she would do it in the airport, right? She was there one day, flight got canceled or delayed, I can't remember, and she just started to do this mindful walking, slowly, one step at a time. I'm sure there was eye rolling going on by some people, but she said, I could feel a calmness in myself, which can radiate out to others. Right? So even though it looks a little crazy, if you're in a park or on the trail around the school, it's okay. Nobody knows, nobody cares. Nobody cares, really, unless it's illegal what we're doing or hurtful to someone else. So just try it, because as soon as I do it, I find that my heart rate goes down. My blood pressure decreases. It allows me, just like the slow hike up the mountain, it allows me to be aware of my environment, whether it's inside or outside. If it's outside, notice the weather. Right? How does the air feel on your body? Is it cold or hot? Notice the people that are around you. Any animals. Animals can sense when you are focused. Right? You're not thinking about 10 other things. When you're doing mindful walking, you're not thinking about anything. You're thinking about your breath, about being calm, peaceful. So we'll try it, and I'll just explain it first. So it's just one foot down as slowly as you can, so that you put the heel down. You put the sole of the foot down. You come to the ball of the foot, and then the toes. And then there's a transfer of weight and energy from one foot to the other as you bring the other foot forward. Just notice, feel that energy flow as the legs move, as the feet change position. It's crazy simple, so powerful. Let's give it a whirl. All right. So I'm just going to stand, and I think you can see me. Move back a little bit. So join me, and we'll just stand in one position, and then just notice the body. Right? Align the head over the shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over knees, and knees over ankles. That's the first. Push the chin in a little bit, just to overcome any spine misalignment from sitting and looking at the computer or sitting in the chair sort of slouched. And then pay attention to the body. Right? The legs are there. We're going to be moving the legs, moving the feet. So prepare for that. You can have the hands down at your sides, in the front, just holding clasped fingers, or you can hold them in the back. And I like to do that because then it just moves my shoulders down and back. Just imagine that you're putting your shoulder blades into your back pocket. We'll start with the right foot. So just bend it. Like, don't even move it yet, just bend it. And think about the ankle. How critical the ankle is in our everyday life, right? We use it all the time. When was the last time you really thought about your ankles? So just bend the ankle, knee bends, heel lifts, and then slowly feel that lift as you lift the foot and bring the foot down. Right foot comes down, right heel, sole, ball of the foot, and then something's happening in the back leg, right? The left leg, the weight is starting to lift off of it, more weight is coming into the right leg. The right knee is bent, feeling that weight come onto the toes, and lifting off of the back toes, coming forward with the left foot, drop the heel, left heel's down, left sole of the foot, left ball, and then the right heel lifts and move it forward. Left toes are down, right toes lift, and I'll turn around. So you can do this in 3 feet, or you can do it for 3 miles. So you get the idea. We're just calmly moving through space, noticing what comes up, and then letting it go. So if you're not a sitting meditation type of person, moving meditation is totally okay. Totally okay. It's just where our focus is. So again, one foot comes down, the back foot lifts, staying upright through the body, stomach is engaged, back foot becomes the front foot. Back foot becomes the front foot. So try this whenever you can. It's a lovely practice to have. It's a mindfulness tool that not a lot of people know about or try. And I just thought, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to share this with everybody on the training today because it's so easy. I have a table and a rug underneath my dining room table. I just started walking around it the other day and I thought, this is so amazingly calming. If you're, with your loved one and they're going slowly, go slowly with them. And this time, be with the process. Be with them and see how that feels. If anything is going to improve my mood, help me to sleep better, to get my blood pressure down and my heart rate down, I'm all in. And walking meditation, mindful walking will do just that. All right, put that in your tool belt. I'm going to finish with some memory methods that we can use, some tools. We'll go back to the basics. These tools will help you to retain those bits of information that we're trying to remember. So back to the basics. I don't remember learning how to recite the alphabet, but I'll bet the ABC song was part of it. I'll bet that you can remember the 5 names of the Great Lakes because of a mnemonic. Love that word. Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior. Homes, right? Did you remember that from grade school? So helpful. I would probably not be able to remember all of the Great Lakes names without using that mnemonic tool. And things like rice, when somebody falls, they have an injury, to rest, ice, compression, and elevate. Right? Just those 4 letters, using acronyms. These are just basic mnemonic tools that are so helpful. I love acronyms. Another one is BRAT, the BRAT diet. If you're trying to get over something, you've been sick, you want to eat pretty bland food, it's bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. Try and make it whole wheat and brown rice. But, BRAT, just so simple. Just brings the ideas to mind so that you're able to remember good things to eat when you're trying to get better after an illness. And logic behind the loci. This is something that I used for my daughter's wedding. I've been a member of Toastmasters this past year, and somebody suggested that to use this method. And it's to put part of a speech into a different location for the whole speech. Somebody said to use a castle, somebody said to use a tree. I just used my house. So I would start in the bathroom, because you were talking about being, on a good bar or something, raising the bar. And then I went through my kitchen, through the dining room, kitchen, and down the hallway, out to the front porch. And I remembered the whole speech that way. When I got up to give the speech at the wedding, my daughter thought, oh my God, she forgot her notes. And then I just gave the speech and remembered it all. It was amazing, so great. So think about the loci when you're trying to remember longer bits of speech. And then the last one is look, snap, and connect. And this is something, a tool that Dr. Gary Small from Harvard Medical School came up with. And it's a way to remember where things are. So when they say to look, you really want to look at something that you're trying to remember, right? Where is my car? I go to the grocery store, which side, which door is it near? And if you look at it, is it near the tree? Is it near the shopping cart return area? Then snap it. Just like take a picture of it, imagine it in your head, and then the third part is to connect, and you connect those two into this memory. So it just helps to remember things that you're trying to not to forget. So think about those little tools to help you. Today we worked on one segment of our health, which is our memory, and we did some movement to go along with it. I didn't talk about plants, but I could if you would like me to. No. But this is what it would be like to work with me. I have 3 tools, 3 parts of my stool for Array Wellness Coaching. How to be calm in the eye of the storm. And goodness, don't we need that right now? These moments seem to be arising daily. Ways to move our body so that we can feel good about it and do it again tomorrow. And then also how to eat well using plants internally and externally. I've actually been reliving what I went through last summer. I was getting ready for Kelsey's wedding. Flew to New Hampshire in July, came back, flew to California for a business retreat. By the time I came back to Montana, but even before the wedding, I was exhausted and came down with 102 fever for 5 days. I thought, how ironic. Here I am launching a coaching company for women 50 and over and how to stay healthy, and I get sick. I've always been a proponent, a big believer in illness is medicine. So I am laying on the couch, moaning and groaning, and starting to get worried about how am I going to get out of this, right? Am I turning that corner, going to the good side? It was really scary. I was by myself. Wells was in New Hampshire getting ready for the wedding. I thought, I just heard that little voice, like, lean into your practices. Put that tool belt on. And I started using all of the techniques and tools that I have to stay healthy for myself. Slowly, I came out of it. 4 weeks later, had a great time at my daughter's wedding. Just, wonderful. Like, to come out of it that quickly was such a gift to myself. And I thought, what's the existential message here, right? Like, why is this going on? And I realized that all of this information that I had, I was on fire to get out to other people. That it's essential for me to share that. And that's my part of being feisty, is to figure out the best way to share it with others. This is what I love to share: how to be calm, how to stay strong, eat well. Pretty simple goals that women 50 and over can use. You might think to yourself, we're in the middle of a pandemic, I have enough on my plate. I can ask you, where will your wellness be in 6 months or a year? How is the pandemic affecting you now? And what are the long-lasting effects going to be if you continue on the path that you're on now? If this is something that you would like to discuss, to talk about, to share, feels right to make this move into a deeper sense of yourself and your awareness of yourself and your health, let me know. You can grab a 30-minute, completely free, one-on-one call with me, Stay Calm and Feisty breakthrough session, and there'll be a link in the comment thread, maybe right now or right at the end. So just grab one of those. I have a couple of slots open this week for you, so don't wait. It's time to do something new for your health, to move forward into a stronger you, more feisty you. Wow. This was great. So glad to be here with you. And I would love for you to come back tomorrow, because on day 3, we're going to create this health plan and to talk about more strength for our brains. So lots more to talk about. Please come back. And if you are watching on the replay, just let me know that you're there. And I wanted to let everybody know from yesterday, the winner is Phoebe Fazio. She posted on the challenge that I'll be adding another one for today, for day 2, and she was commenting all through the thread yesterday. So be sure to stay engaged and put your answer in for the question that we'll be posting, and it's to try that Look, Snap, and Connect tool. Look, Snap, and Connect. And try it on one task, and let us know in the group how it went for you. All right? So thanks for staying all the way to the end. It means so much to me. We're so thankful for your support. When you're in the thread tonight, just comment on a couple of other people's and let them know, give them a heart, thumbs up, let us know what you're going through, and we'll check on that. I'll be checking tonight, and it should probably be in by, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, so we can have it ready for the day 3 training. So tomorrow is yeah, more brain health and a plan. But today we talked about how to take care of your health and create more calm for yourself and your loved one, and how to create those connections again, how to strengthen your memory so that we can have full lives. As we move through this aging process, we can stay feisty, and bring more meaning and purpose into our lives and create engagement. So thanks so much for watching today. We'll be back tomorrow for day 3, health plans for aging and more brain strength, creating strategies for improving the memory and lifestyle for you. So don't forget, tomorrow, noon Mountain, 2 p.m. Eastern, day 3, health plan and more memory strength. All right, be well until then. We will see you tomorrow at noon. Take care.